All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're getting into what is without a doubt one of the most important books in American history, W.E.B. Du Bois's 1903 masterpiece, The Souls of Black Folk. Now, this isn't just a book. It's a collection of essays that completely changed how we talk about race and identity in America. And it all starts with one big, powerful idea. So Du Bois kicks things off with this line right here, and he's basically laying out his mission from the get-go. He says he wants to tackle what he called the problem of the 20th century. And that problem, he said, was the problem of the color line. And he didn't just mean laws or segregation. He meant the fundamental division of the world itself. So how do you even begin to describe a world that's split in two? Well, Du Bois gives us this incredible, powerful metaphor. He calls it the veil. Now, when you hear the veil, you might think it's just about physical stuff, segregated schools or different neighborhoods. But for Du Bois, it's so much deeper. It's this profound psychological wall. On one side, it stops white America from really seeing Black people as fully human. And on the other, it makes it incredibly hard for Black Americans to see themselves clearly, outside of the warped reflection they get from a society that looks down on them. Okay, so what happens when you live your entire life looking at the world through this veil? This constant awareness of being judged, of being different. Well, it creates this deep internal split. It's a psychological conflict that Du Bois gives a name to, a really brilliant one. And this idea, double consciousness, is honestly the heart of the entire book. It's this feeling of two-ness, right? Of being pulled in two different directions. You're an American and you're a Negro. You've got these two souls, these two ways of thinking, constantly battling it out inside of one person. So the huge struggle becomes, how do you merge these two parts of yourself into one whole person without losing a piece of who you are? Now, that's the internal battle. But of course, there was a huge external one happening at the same time. Du Bois also walks us through the fight for progress after the Civil War, a really messy, hopeful, and confusing time when everyone was debating the right way forward. And you can see how the main goal kept shifting. First, it was simple, physical freedom from slavery. But that, it turned out, wasn't nearly enough. So the next big hope was the ballot box, the idea that political power could protect that freedom. But when that was violently crushed, the focus shifted yet again, this time to education, to what Du Bois calls book learning as the true path to self-worth and respect. And all this searching, this quest for the best strategy, set the stage for one of the most important debates in American history. We're talking about a showdown between two absolute giants of the era, and they had completely different visions for the future. So on one side, you have Booker T. Washington. His plan was basically one of practical compromise. He said, look, let's focus on learning trades, building businesses, making money, and for now, let's just quiet down on the demands for voting rights and social equality. But Du Bois, he looked at that and said, absolutely not. He thought it was a terrible bargain. I mean, what good is owning a business if you don't have the political power to protect it? What good is money without basic human dignity? Du Bois insisted that you needed it all: political power, civil rights, and higher education for leaders, for a talented tenth to guide the way. Whew. I mean, this quote just cuts right to the core of his whole argument, doesn't it? For Du Bois, the fight for self-respect, for full personhood, was everything. He believed that to just give up the demand for equality, even for a short time, was like a kind of spiritual death. And no amount of money could ever be worth that. But this book isn't just about politics or economics. Not at all. Du Bois says that if you really, truly want to understand the souls of Black folk, you have to do more than read history. You have to listen. You have to listen to the music. He's talking about the spirituals, which he so beautifully calls the sorrow songs. And to him, these were not just simple folk tunes. Oh no. They were deep, complicated, profound works of art. In fact, he argued they were the single greatest cultural gift America had ever produced. Think of these songs as a living, breathing history book. Du Bois heard everything in them. All the pain of slavery, for sure, but also so much more. There was hope, a deep longing for freedom, and this powerful, unshakable faith that in the end, justice would win. This, he said, was the soul of a people made into sound. So here's the big question, right? Why are we still talking about a book that's over 100 years old? Well, it's because its legacy and the questions it forces us to ask are still incredibly urgent. What Du Bois really did was give us the language, the vocabulary, to talk about all of this. He gave us words like the veil and double consciousness to understand both the internal and external reality of being Black in America. These ideas became the bedrock, the intellectual blueprint for the entire civil rights movement that would define the next century. And that leaves us right back where we started, thinking about that veil. Du Bois' ultimate challenge to America was to finally tear it down, to rip it apart so we could all see each other as we really are. So, looking at our world today, we have to ask ourselves, have we done it? Is the veil gone? How much of it is still there? And what's it going to take to finally, truly get rid of it for good? That is the enduring power and the enduring question of the souls of Black folk.